And here we are, another Saturday, Final Cut TV live. And I didn't, last week was a weird week. I didn't make it back when I thought I was going to. I had to go to the airport and drop my relative off and stuff. And when I got back, I was just really, really tired. And I said, there's no sense in going on when I'm this tired. So I took a nap instead. But we're here today. We are here today. Thank you very much. Happy to see you, Richard. A bit worried when it did not happen last week. You can always either go on YouTube and make a comment. You can message me on X. You can go to our Facebook group, which is here. You can always go there and just ask a question, or to the YouTube channel, of course. If you don't belong to Facebook, go to youtube.com at Richard Taylor TV and ask there what's going on. No, I'm doing fine. It's just that I was just didn't get back till like 1 o'clock, and I started setting up, and I was just so tired. No, didn't happen. So this week we'll make it twice as good. We'll make it twice as good as it would have been without missing last week. It's one of the few. I miss a couple a year. Maybe 1 or 2 a year, so that's what it was. So, in the world of Final Cut Pro, what the heck's going on? Tell me what's going on. We have 30-some people watching live right now, which is very good. Oh, by the way, I got out, let me pull that up. Hold on a second. Mice are so weird. I have mice that sometimes work, sometimes they don't. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, you know what? I can just go to the main web page. What's wrong with me? Yeah. Let's go here. Let's go here. So here we are. Let me just go. What the heck? I didn't do that. I did this. What are you doing to me here? There. That's weird. It's going back to, for some reason, it's been acting weird recently. I'll leave it up. Here we go. We have a new podcast out. Final Cut Pro Radio number 156 is up and available. Go to fcpradio.com. Let me see if I can play that. Do I have? Yeah. You're listening to Final Cut Pro Radio, your home for the very best Final Cut Pro news from around the globe. FCPradio.com. 4K Pro. Oh, it's buffering. Too many people are listening at the same time. Anyway, it's available on FCPradio.com or your favorite podcast aggregator, FCP Radio, of course. So that's up. I put that up yesterday. Had a good time. The interesting thing was what I've been doing with Final Cut Pro Radio, the podcast, which has been going on for years and years and years. We have over 2 million audio file downloads over the years. What I've been doing is editing that in DaVinci Resolve with text-based editing. Because I can chop a long-form file down much quicker than listening in real time. What I do is I send the XML over to Logic Pro. So I chop it up in DaVinci Resolve with text-based editing, and then I send the FCP XML over on the desktop somewhere, and then I open it up with Logic Pro. Logic Pro is a great program. I love that program. after editing in DaVinci Resolve and going to Logic Pro, boy, there's a world of difference when it comes to editing audio. Logic Pro is meant for audio, and it does a great job. I'm set up in Logic Pro all kinds of ways, shortcuts and things. I can have 2 separate timelines up, and they both can have different zoom levels, and they both can scroll, a scrolling timeline. They both can be centered. 2 different zoom levels. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So I have the overview zoom level at top, which is more condensed and contains a lot of the files, and below is the audio file. So below is zoomed in, so I can just see a larger audio file for any editing I have to do. Love Logic Pro. Hasn't been updated in a while, but I'm not even sure what it needs. I just presume it's going to be updated. 50 episodes a year is a good number. Yeah, I don't think I've missed any in a while, but yet last week was, So like I said, if you have any questions, contact me. This is interesting. I got the HOEM 3 Ultra, plus I did exactly the same thing you did. I got the Lexar, the HOEM 3 Ultra and the Lexar SSD, and I put up a post about it. I returned it. Let me go find that now. You're making me work. You are making me work. Let me see. This is what I found. This was pretty amazing. The arm on the HOEM 3 is shorter. It's dramatically shorter, and therefore the hard drive hits the gimbal. It doesn't work. And I got a picture up here. I found that out, and I returned it. I said, nah, the heck with that. I'm not doing that. That nonsense. Where in the heck is it? Do I have it up here? Hold on a second. I got it somewhere. Let's see where it is. Is that it? Yeah, there it is. So let's go over to black. 675 over. We're approaching 700,000 views over there on YouTube, which, listen, that's a lot for me. But look at this. Look at this. Now, when we get my picture up here, where the cam link goes on top, what's happening is, if you notice in the top left corner with the Insta360, how much space I have. Let me show you. So here, I have a lot of space between the SSD and the arm of the gimbal. I have like about a good ½ inch or more. But over here, it hits the gimbal. The HOEM 3 is about a good inch shorter. The arm is shorter than the Insta360. And you can see down here, same thing. It hits the arm. It won't rotate. And even if, even the little adapter is the same thing. It's the same thing. There's no solution for that. The arm is physically shorter. I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed that they did that to that gimbal. The gimbal looks really, really cool. But no, I returned mine. I got it and I said, whoa, what's going on here? And I looked. I said, no, that's no good. And I don't have another picture. Let me see if I have it here. No, it's not that one. That's the one we just had. Hold on a second. Let's see if I have a clarification. And I don't. All right, I got to go over to X. Let me go over to X real quick, and I'll pull it from there. My profile. Couple of cats. Somewhere I have that picture to show you the difference in the 1 second. All right, I'll get to it while I'm talking to you. Somewhere, I have a picture of the difference in the lengths of the arms. Here it is here. Here it is here. Let's go back to the, let's go back to this one. And let's close this one. And let's open up this one. And then you can see it. Look at the difference in the length of the arms over here. Look at the bottom one, the black one, is the Hohem iSteady V3 Ultra, and the top one is the InstaFlow 2 Pro. Look at the difference in the length of the gimbal arms. The Hohem, it hits. It doesn't have room to clear if you use an external SSD. That's a deal breaker for me. Nothing else matters, but you can physically see the distance, the length of the arms are dramatically different. So I'm sticking with my Insta360 Flow 2 Pro for the time being. Now I expect them to update that. It's been about a year, but don't shorten that arm. Do not shorten that arm. That's amazing. When I found that out, because I got the Hohem and I was looking forward to it because it was 400 gram payload and some other features, a little teeny screen you can have. Nope, sent it right back. Sent it right back. It's very, very poor design. Very, very poor design. Somebody really missed the boat on that one. Our friend Alista, hello from Jamaica, how you doing? So we have the same problem, and when you try to push the phone forward to move it away from the gimbal, you're either pushing it down on the end of the bottom or not balanced properly. Yeah, that's if it's balanced properly. It hits. If you want to push it way over, it'll be unbalanced. It may clear, but it's the fact that that arm is so much shorter than the Insta360. No, not interested. I sent it back. Got my money back. No problem. I'll wait for the new Insta360. Hope it's got to have a longer arm so that clears, because I use it all the time. As a matter of fact, somewhere around here. So I'm not even using the Insta3. I'm not even using the Lexar drive anymore. I got a new drive that I'm using. So got like 40 people watching live right now. Yeah, that's a problem. I was looking forward to it. I got it on sale for $239, $237. Nah, it went right back. As soon as I tried to mount that drive, it went right back. Huh. Just looking at my lighting in the background. So anyway, let's look backyard for a second. Very nice out there. Nice spring day. It's very nice out there. I can't say the weather is nice. Huh, that's interesting. Where is that other one? I'm looking for something, but I think I have to find it on my jacket. So since we're talking about that, so in the past, I've used, this one's going back. I got a 2 terabyte on sale. I got it for $167, which is really good. And it has the dock there. It has the hard drive and then the dock. So it's 2 pieces. This is what I've switched to. I've switched again. I have switched again. This is the new 2 terabyte hard drive that I've got. And let me show you why that I've switched. Well, actually, let me, so I got my Insta360, my Hollyland Lark Max 2 case, which is a really nice little zippered case. Everything goes inside. I got the headphones in there. It's got the hard case that goes in there, and it has a lot of little pieces that I need. I put them all in a mini DV case. All these little teeny pieces, because I don't want them just bouncing around inside the case, so I'm going to lose one. But let me show you what I've got here, this new system that I've got. And I really like it. I ran it for an hour the other day. It's no problem. So it's a 2 terabyte hard drive, 2 terabyte, like the Lexar. This is the difference. I'm going to put this little adapter on it, of course, that lets you go. It's a little snap-on adapter. Snaps on, lets you go behind the iPhone case. It snaps on like that, right? You don't need a dock. You don't need a dock like the Lexar does. Lexar has a hard drive and a dock. This hard drive has pass-through power, so you can power it, and it has a USB-C port for audio. It has a USB-C port for audio. So now, instead of having the hard drive and the dock is built in to the hard drive. You got pass-through power. You can power the system if you want from this one, and you can plug in the audio just like that. No dock necessary. So the Lexar, this one's going back. I have one that's older that I'm keeping, but the Lexar will probably come out with the same setup. The hard drive, 2 terabyte, and it works with ProRes RAW, no dock necessary. I recorded an hour with this ProRes RAW, just set it up on my desk and just recorded for an hour. No hiccups. It barely got warm. It got a little bit warm. It's the same price range. I got it on sale. I got the 2 terabyte for like $224, I think. But the dock is built in. You don't have to have a separate dock, so it's even smaller than the Lexar. So this is my new setup for recording ProRes RAW. It hardly adds any weight whatsoever. It clicks in with this case. I got a little case, a thin case. Clicks in without any issue, and I have Pro Audio. I can have 4 separate transmitters going into my iPhone and recording on this SSD. Very nice. It's exactly correct. I know, buddy. Very nice and svelte. It's small. It's really nice. It takes away the Lexar dock. You don't need the dock. It's about the same size as the Lexar SSD. I would be surprised if Lexar doesn't come out with an exact same version of this. The name of that SSD is, let me go look on my YouTube channel. I got a video that I'm working with. Let me go over and look on my Amazon channel. Orders. Let's go see what I ordered. SSD. I ordered a lot of stuff from Amazon because you can return it fairly easy. Here it is. Here it is. So this is it. It's a P30 3-in-1 portable SSD, 2 terabyte external solid state drive speeds, blah, blah, blah. But it supports ProRes microphone with the PD interface compatible with iPhones. So it's $245 for 2 terabytes. It's Afro, AIFFRO. But it's called P3 3-in-1 portable. It's 3-in-1 because it's a 2 terabyte hard drive. You can power with the cable from underneath, and it specifically takes a microphone audio input, USB input. So it's you can do 3 separate things with it at once. So that's the name of it. P30 3-in-1 portable SSD. The 1 terabyte's less. I got the 2 terabyte. Because I like 2 terabytes. So when I got my iPhone, I got the 1 terabyte SSD. When I found out before the iPhones shipped that in order to record ProRes RAW, let me take this cap off. Come on, Cap. What are you doing on me? In order to record ProRes RAW, you had to do it on an external SSD. When I found that out, I said, I'm not paying $400 to go from 1 terabyte on the iPhone to 2 terabytes. So that's $400 for 1 extra terabyte of storage on the phone. I said, no way. I'm not paying that. And then I started investigating, and I found out you can't even record internally on the 2 terabyte. Not ProRes RAW. Can't do it. You have to record externally. So I said, no thanks. 1 terabyte's fine. I've been managing with it for years. My 15 Pro Max and my 16 Pro Max are both 1 terabyte. Here's the thing. Managing 1 terabyte of data on your phone is a chore in and of itself, because you got to get it off your phone at some point. So you got to transfer 1 terabyte of data, manage it, organize it, store it, etc. I've never filled it up to 1 terabyte. If it gets to 600, 700 gigabytes, at that point, I'll empty the phone off. I'll take it off, organize it, back it up, and empty it again. I don't let it get up to 1 terabyte. It's a kind of a pain. It's a slow process. It's a lot of data. I don't want 2 terabytes. It would be twice as difficult. I never wanted 2 terabytes. With this SSD, either this or the Lexar, either one, you can just unplug it, plug it into your MacBook Pro, and copy the data off. You don't have to tie your phone up, which is a lot slower than just using a directly connected USB SSD drive. So I didn't want the 1 terabyte. You can't record ProRes on a 2 terabyte internally. You can't do it. The heck with that. I got the 1 terabyte. I don't want it. A YouTuber discovered that you connected an SSD to H. I don't know what that means. I think you pressed send before you finished your thought there. So, yeah, I put up a video before the iPhones came out. We got 60 people watching, 65 people watching live right now. I put up a video before the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max came out, a week before. And I said, I think you're going to have to record ProRes RAW to an external SSD. It's got thousands of views, 3,000, something like that. And I said, I think you got to record externally to an SSD for ProRes RAW. Some people were arguing with me. They said, no. The 2 terabyte you'll be able to record. It's plenty fast. I don't think speed's the problem. I don't think speed's the problem. What I think the problem is the licensing for the RAW patent. The licensing, from what I understand, the licensing for the RAW patent applies to internal recording. It does not apply, at least from what I understand. I mean, I'm not an expert. It doesn't apply to external recording, because the iPhone SSD is dramatically faster than both the Lexar and this AIFFRO SSD, dramatically faster than both of these SSDs. So it's not the speed. It's not the speed. Some people say that Apple didn't want you to fill up your phone. A 2 terabyte? You're worried about filling up your phone with a 2 terabyte? No, that doesn't make sense. That's why you're offering 2 terabyte. You're offering a 2 terabyte so you can fill up your phone. Okay? 1 terabyte, I'd never filled up 1 terabyte. Now, I haven't been recording ProRes RAW until I got my iPhone 17 Pro Max. I think, not positive, I think it's a licensing. Just here's the deal. When a camera manufacturer licenses RAW from the Red patent, the Red RAW patent, they're dealing with thousands of cameras. Thousands. Okay, some of them pay the license so they can record internally. With the iPhone, Apple would have to pay a license for every iPhone Pro and Pro Max that was sold, whether they recorded RAW or not. They'd have to pay a license for every single iPhone 17 and Pro and Pro Max that was sold. If that's the reason. I'm not saying that 100% sure it is, but that's certainly a good candidate for why you have to record externally. It's certainly a good candidate. Your iPhone, when using Final Cut Camera and choose ProRes RAW, remove the SSD, you could now record ProRes RAW internally, but will probably be fixed with the next update. Absolutely, it will be. Yeah, I saw that. I can crush 2 terabytes with ProRes RAW, no problem. Gets me about 50 minutes of footage. When I plug, let me plug in and check on it. I think I get a lot more than that. I think I get 4 hours. I'm going to pull up the, I use Final Cut Camera because it's easier. Okay. So how many hours do I have? Let me go over there and look. 24. One of the things that I do, I switch back from 30 frames per second to 24 frames per second, because when I shoot ProRes RAW, 24 frames per second is fine. I'm saving that data size and data rate from 30 to 24. So I just standardize across my DJI Action 5, my iPhone 16 Pro Max, my iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I record everything at 24 frames from now on. Let me go over there and see. Let me go ProRes log. ATVC, ProRes RAW, OpenGate, 4 hours and 10 minutes. ProRes RAW, OpenGate, 4K, 24 frames per second, 4 hours and 10 minutes on this SSD. So I'm not sure why you're only getting 50 minutes of footage. I'm getting 4 hours with the large size OpenGate frame, 4K, 24 frames per second, 4 hours with the 2 terabyte drive. I'm not recording anything for 4 hours. With ProRes, listen, I really, really like ProRes RAW for some situations. I don't like the OpenGate all the time. Sometimes I record in 17:9. That's the aspect ratio that ProRes RAW records. It doesn't record 16:9. It records 17:9. I like that format as well. It's a little bit wider than 16:9. But I like ProRes RAW quite a bit. They've done a really good job incorporating it in Final Cut Pro. So will it fall over to the internal storage? There's a trick that they mentioned above that if you pull the hard drive out, you'll be able to record to internal. But I almost guarantee you, if it's a licensing issue, that's going to be corrected by Apple. They don't want to be paying any licensing on all those millions and millions of iPhone 17s and Pros and Pro Maxes that they have sold, because the majority of people are not going to be using that license. The majority of people are not going to be using ProRes RAW. They'd have to pay millions. This is just one of my theories. There's a couple of other theories too, but that's what I think so. Any news on B-RAW for Final Cut Pro? I am really surprised that we don't have BRAW for Final Cut Pro yet. I presume Blackmagic's working on it. They're the ones that have to work on it. It's already available in the OS and Final Cut Pro. In context of filming with an FX3, oh, you're talking about FX3. Atomos Ninja, I consume data. That's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the iPhone. And I'm talking about the iPhone. I can record ProRes RAW, 4K. It's actually more than 4K. It's 4.2K. 24 frames per second, open gate, 4 hours. Now, if I change it to, let me change the size from open gate to 17:9. And now I have 5 hours and 37 minutes. 5 hours and 37 minutes recording ProRes RAW 17:9. 5 hours, 37 minutes on a 2 terabyte SSD. So a little over 4 hours open gate, over 5.5 hours if you switch to 17:9. If you switch to 17:9. Can we expect Final Cut Pro 11.2.1? Maybe they add BRAW this time. It's not the, I don't think, I'm not sure, but I don't think it's the Final Cut Pro update. I think it's Blackmagic. I think they have to do the work and make either a plugin or whatever that the other thing that they do in Final Cut now. I think Blackmagic has to do the work. So it's up to Blackmagic, I'm pretty sure at this point. I don't think Final Cut may have to be updated with it. I don't know. But Blackmagic has to do the work from my understanding. Does the transfer speed of an SSD external is faster than internal transfer speed of... No. It's slower. These SSDs that plug in via USB-C they're dramatically slower than the internal SSD of the iPhone. The internal SSD of the iPhone is 2, 3, 5 times faster than the external SSDs. So it's not a transfer speed. It's not a transfer speed. It's not that they fill up their hard drives, because why do they offer a 2 terabyte version? Why not say, okay, if you have the 2 terabyte version, you can record internally. That 2 terabytes plenty. Like I said, I can record 4 hours on a 2 terabyte SSD. So it's not, you're going to fill up your hard drive. Why not enable it on the 2 terabyte version like some people thought was going to happen? So crazy. Here's the other thing. This is a bit disappointing coming from Apple. Nowhere did Apple say they promoted ProRes RAW, hallelujah, ProRes RAW, OpenGate on these new iPhones. Nowhere that I have seen did Apple say, oh, by the way, you have to record on an external SSD. No white paper says it. No note in Final Cut Pro Notes says it. Nowhere on the iPhone page that I've seen, unless they've updated, does it say you have to record, you have to connect an external SSD if you want to record ProRes RAW. That's disappointing, Apple. You should inform the public that you need an external SSD before they buy your phone. Now, you can return the phone if that really upsets you. It didn't upset me because I had 2 terabyte SSDs. I had 2 Lexars. One of them's going back. I'll keep the other one. And this new one that I really like so far, I let it record for 2 hours, for an hour straight. Full frame, open gate, 4K, 24 frames per second. I just sat it here and, watched it. No drop frames. It didn't even get warm. So this new SSD is really, really cool. It's tiny. Look at this thing. This has the audio interface, which I connect my Highland Lark Max to, up to 4 microphones. I have 2, but up to 4. And you can deliver power. It takes power delivery too, right there with the USB-C port. So you can plug in power to power everything, your iPhone and stuff. And it's only the size of the SSD, 2 terabytes. It's fantastic. Oh, you can not internal speed, but the transfer speed to your Mac that SSD have versus phone transfer. The phone is, for some reason, is I've always had issues with the speed of transferring data from the phone. Maybe it's, I don't know what the speed is, but these, I like these better. First off, you don't have to tie your phone up. Your phone, you can take it with you, wherever you're going, just plug it in, transfer. And one of the other things that's really, really neat, so NeoFinder came out with version 9. I've been using NeoFinder since it was CD Finder, years and years and years ago. I catalog all my hard drives. I catalog my LTO9 tapes with it. NeoFinder, one of the neat things that you can do with NeoFinder in version 9, you can transfer data from a plugged-in iPhone, or I think even an action camera, even my DJI Action 5. I mean DJI Action 5. I think you can even transfer data from a plugged-in action camera to the Finder, and you can organize, and there's other options. So that's something new with NeoFinder. I got the version 9. What's going on out here? This is the backyard. You can see the leaves are still green. I've done a little bit of leaf pickup. I'm going to be very busy for the next 2 months. The end of October, all of November, into the second week of December, I'll be picking up, gathering leaves and getting them. I don't clean up 100%, like the garden over there, right over here. That'll have leaves on it till the spring. Underneath, next to the garden over here, I'll leave leaves under these pine trees for insects and things. And then in the front yard, I also have a bunch of pine trees, and I leave the leaves under there as well. So, but the yard itself, I want the yard cleaned up. I want the yard cleaned up. There's too many leaves. I mean, it would get to be 2 feet high if I didn't clean them up of leaves, not just a small layer. The P30 and the 2 terabyte version is sold out here in Europe, so I have asked them to notify me when it is in stock. With regards to the Hohem, I will keep mine as I got it from China. Yeah, I got mine from Amazon. That's one of the best things about Amazon is you can return stuff and they'll pay the postage, the shipping both ways. I also got the Hohem 3 from Amazon, so I sent it back. As soon as it hit, I said, no, I got to have clearance. That arm is that much shorter than the Insta360. I said, I can't be bothered with that. The 400-gram weight is really cool. That's what I was interested in. The little screen monitor live view thing was really, really cool. But no, that arm's too short. I said, why is it hitting? And then I compared the arms and I can see, well, the distance, they made that arm really, really short. The heck with that. So I'm expecting a new Insta360 Pro 3 Flow coming out, and hopefully that'll be the 400-gram weight limit. That's what I'm hoping for. DJI came out with one, right? Didn't they? For action cameras? Yeah, they did. They have a new gimbal for action cameras and phones, which is really cool. But it has the port that blocks the USB-C port, and I won't buy a gimbal that does that. I had to plug my stuff in there. I can't be bothered with that nonsense. We've already seen the designs of gimbals. The arm's out of the way. You have access to the USB-C port. There's absolutely no reason to block that USB-C port in 2025. That's just poor engineering in my point. So and that the reason I brought that one up by the DJI, the new one, is because number one, it has action camera capability, which is really cool, and iPhone, both, either. It's also 400 grams. So the new weight limit is 400 grams. Was surprised when I discovered even the full all-in, like one NLE, users needed some plugins. Well, it depends on what you're doing, yes. I like plugins. I don't like plugin subscriptions. Okay, I do not like plugin subscriptions. Give me a price that you're going to update it for a year or 2 years or 5 years. Don't charge a subscription. That subscription is utter nonsense, and I won't support your company. I am not talking about smaller developers that need to do that. I'm talking about the big guns. They're taking after the Adobe model. I mean, okay, years ago, just an example, I used your plugin and I did some projects, but I didn't want to subscribe. You changed your policy and you made us subscribe to your plugins. No, I don't want to subscribe. When I go back and open up those old projects, the plugins are all missing. What the heck kind of customer service is that? You're not thinking of your customers. You're thinking, gimme. Cash. Think of your customers. That's utter nonsense. If I used your plugin in the past on a project, it should work perpetually. I will not support these plugin manufacturers, these big ones that are going subscription only. Absolutely not. I will not use your plugins. I won't recommend them. Would the port clear if the iPhone is mounted 160 so the port is away from the arm? Probably, but I don't use my phone that way. I want my phone with the lenses right here. I don't want my phone with the lenses down at the bottom. I just don't want to do that. I want to know where my lenses are at all times, and I want the phone lenses right here in the upper left-hand corner. I don't want them in the bottom right-hand corner. Don't want them. I won't do that. Yeah, that's true with Motion VFX. They're the main culprit. I won't support them. I will not recommend them. So Topaz has gone the way of subscription from now on. I thought, but Topaz, the version that I have, continues to work without a subscription because I have not subscribed to it. If you don't update it. The version that you have will continue to work. Unless they've changed, the version that I have will continue to work without a subscription. New versions, you got to subscribe to get new features, new bug fixes, etc. That's okay. I don't have any problem with that. But don't go back retrospectively and take all my plugins that I used 2-3 years ago and disable them because I won't do a subscription. That's poor customer service. And I will not support any company that does that. Now my Saturdays are very busy. You're streaming right after the Final Cut Bro stream who started last Saturday. So he's copying me. Is he copying my streams? I know him. We talk all the time. But I've been doing it for 3 years. I think I start my 4th year in January. We have how many show episodes? 200, 150? I forget how many we have. But I've been doing it. Here's one of the secrets when I see people start something. It's easy to start a podcast. It's easy to start a website. It's easy to start live streaming on YouTube. What's difficult is keep on doing it week after week, month after month, year after year. Just saying. I've been podcasting for 20 years. I've been podcasting for 20 years. Final Cut Pro Radio, I've been podcasting for, I'm not sure how many years that is, but it's got like over 2 million audio file downloads. So I know what it takes to keep going. It's to starting it. Everybody can start it. Let me talk to you a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Podcasting is easy to start. It's more difficult to keep going month, year, week after week, month after month, year after year. I know, I've been doing it. Let me show you something here. If I can find this. Here we go. So back in the very first days, there's the InstaFlow 360 Flow. The very first days of podcasting, when Adam Curry started it, 6 months, he started, I think, in August. 6 months after he started it, I'd started my first podcast, inspired by him. In June 2005, Apple added podcasting to iTunes. So that's June. I started my podcast in March of 2005. Apple added podcasting to iTunes in June at WWDC in 2005. 1 year later, that was iTunes 4.9. 1 year later, Apple had the first birthday for podcasting. So, and look at this. 1 year later, at that point, there were 10,000 podcasts out there. So the first birthday for podcasting on iTunes, my first podcast, Roots Rock Radio, Richard Taylor, was honored by Apple as one of 52 podcasts. They did 52 for 52 weeks of the year, out of over 10,000 at the time, for the first birthday for podcasting on iTunes. And mine was one of them that were honored. So I've been podcasting for 20 years. I've been podcasting for 20 years. So just so you know. The difference, you produce pure Final Cut Pro info stream, but others are used to promote their tutorials and their plugins. But that's fine. They can promote their stuff. As a matter of fact, if I use their stuff, I will promote them as well. I mean, I know Dylan, Final Cut Pro. We talk at the Creator Summits and NAB. I've known him for quite a few years. But I've been podcasting for 20 years. I've been doing Final Cut Pro Radio, I don't know how many years. I got to look it up. Maybe 10 years, Final Cut Pro Radio, 8 years, something like that. But my original podcast, 20 years. Now, I don't do that. I only do that once or twice a year now. It's just too much work. I used to do it, spend 8 hours every Saturday when I first started it out. Back, it was exciting. Putting a file out there and people were downloading. I had 10,000 downloads a week on that original one, but it's just too much work. I mean, this Final Cut TV is easier for me. I don't have to script anything other than I might make some notes. I don't have to do anything, just come and talk to everybody, talk to the worldwide Final Cut Pro community. So it's easier than doing a podcast, because podcasts, I have to assemble the music. I got to make sure I get all the artists. I do a lot of pre-production to do the podcast. This this is easier, so I like it better. Some people call YouTube videos podcasts. They're not really podcasts. It's like using the word decimate to mean utterly destroy. No, decimate means reduce by 10%. 10. Decimate means reduce by 10%. It does not mean utterly destroy. Okay, I know they've updated the definition to fit current usage, but that's still not what decimate means. Decimate means reduced by 10%. So podcasts, a YouTube video is not really a podcast, but people have adopted it to mean that. I even say it myself sometimes. Just curious, have you ever thought to do plugins to cover missing tools you want to see included? I could get involved with making a plugin or two at some point using Swift, but it's usually I'll just approach somebody else and see if they'll do it. But we'll see. I might do a couple of simple ones and just give them away for free. There's a couple that well, it's easy to do a Motion plugin and just port it over to Final Cut Pro and make it a plugin. I got to keep track of my time today. So let's talk about Final Cut Pro in the rest of the year. We got our big update, 11.2, which we talked about for months on this show because of the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max came out. This is the second time they've done that. They've updated Final Cut Pro for the iPhone. They did it also with cinematic mode. 3 years ago, when they had cinematic mode, they came out with an update to Final Cut Pro. This time they had ProRes RAW. Well, they have updated Final Cut Pro, right? They updated it the same day on Friday. They never update Final Cut Pro on a Friday. I thought it was coming out Thursday, the day before. They updated it after we got our iPhones in our hands, so that was interesting. There were a bug in the last two updates, so I could not upgrade. The third upgrade solved that problem, but if Apple decided to utilize the power of my M2 Ultra, I will have to. Yeah, so I'm expecting 11.2.1 bug fix, maybe with, I always hope there would be a feature added, but usually it's just a bug fix. Do you think transcription is coming in better subtitling? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's too important. I would say 11.3 at the Creative Summit, we'll see transcription, text-based editing, better subtitling coming to Final Cut Pro. That's one of my top features. Subscribe if I want to make advantage of that improvements in the future, right? Absolutely. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and give the old thumbs up here. People talk about the algorithm. Yep, the algorithm has to be fed, so do that, absolutely. But one thing we want to certainly talk about the Final Cut Pro Apps team. Round of applause for 11.2 in a very timely fashion. Very timely fashion. What are your thoughts on the new M5 hardware? The only thing, I would not get a 14-inch MacBook Pro. So that M5 MacBook Pro doesn't really, doesn't interest me. I wouldn't get a 14-inch. I got a 16-inch, so I'll wait to see when the M5 16-inch comes out. But they're so expensive. I have a 2021 MacBook Pro, M1 Max, 4 terabyte SSD that I was going to trade in on the M4, and it's the MacBook Pro that I want is over $5,000, approaching $6,000. I don't want to spend that much. I don't use it. I only use this when I travel, so I'm keeping the M1 Max. At some point, I may get a 1 year behind MacBook Pro. Like, for example, this year, I might, if I was going to get one, I'd get the M4 perhaps, which is now cheaper because when the M5 comes out. So I would go maybe 1 year behind, maybe get a refurb or something to save $1,000 or so. But I really don't need it. I use my M1 Max MacBook Pro as my desktop. I use it as my desktop. Well, that's not what the heck you're doing. That's not what it's made for. So now the reason I need the MacBook Pro, I used to need it for NAB, which I don't go to anymore. That could change. That could change. I could go to NAB again, but here's what would have to happen. The Final Cut Pro team would have to do a presentation in the convention center for Final Cut Pro apps. They did it in 2017 and they did it in 2018. They did official Apple-sponsored Final Cut Pro presentations in the convention center, in a separate room in the convention center. The place was packed. It's free. That's one thing that would get me to go to NAB. Another thing would be if there was another dinner, the FCPX Guru Gathering. We had that for like 3 years. Steve Martin was the main person behind that instigated that. That hasn't happened for a long time. A super meet would get me probably to come to NAB. No super meets anymore. Even the last time I went in 2024, they had, Strata, Michael Cioni's company, had a thing on a Saturday night, a gathering outside of the convention center where people get together and have drinks and food and chat and stuff. Those are the things, the extracurricular activities are the things that gets me to go to NAB. But they have to be Final Cut Pro centric. They have to be Final Cut Pro centric. I'm not going for generic. The only thing that I like about NAB is Blackmagic. They're still hopping with information, hopping with new products. And it's really cool. Their area is gigantic. They have sessions all day, brand new products. So they're still a very attractive reason to go. But for the most part, it's the extracurricular stuff that I used to enjoy. That hasn't happened. Last year it didn't happen. So I did the numbers. In 2016 or 17, they had 103,000 attendees. In 2018, it dropped 10,000 to 93,000. It's been dropping every year since then. So last year they had 53,000. COVID didn't help, but it dropped 10,000 in 1 year pre-COVID, 2018. From 2017 to 2018, it dropped 10,000 attendees. Nothing to do with COVID. COVID didn't help. It's now down. Last year was 53,000. I don't want to go to NAB and just have people advertising their latest product. That's not why I go. I go for these extracurricular activities. No extracurricular events, no super meets, no faster together stages. That's another one that was a big deal. No Apple team doing a presentation, Apple Pro Apps team doing an official presentation in the convention center. No FCPX Guru Gathering. I'm just not interested. It doesn't interest me. I'll stay home and watch the things on. Meeting people in person is cool, but you're just bombarded with the new products and the different manufacturers. I want to have a meeting with friends and have faster togethers or super meets or whatever. They don't happen. I'm not coming. It just, if they start happening again, then I'd be interested. I was talking about Topaz Video AI. Final Cut Pro 11.2 is running good, and I'm on Mac OS 26, but I do not use plugins. So I cannot say if it's safe for people who do. Absolutely. The more I learn DaVinci Resolve, the more I like Final Cut Pro. No argument for me. I use Final Cut Pro, but I like DaVinci Resolve too. But I like it, and listen, I went back to Logic for my latest episode of Final Cut Pro Radio. What a joy to use to do audio editing. What a freaking joy to use. Now, Logic has tracks, and I like tracks for audio. I like trackless magnetic timeline for video, but I like tracks for pure audio. So that doesn't bother me whatsoever. It's phenomenal. Logic is absolutely phenomenal for audio. I forgot how good it was. I wish consolidation of libraries also consolidated used motion plugins and fonts into the library. I thought there was a way you could do your motion plugins. I think there's an option for that now. You can take the Motion plugins with you. The thing I have to accept is Final Cut Pro needs a few plugins to do whatever I want, and it's cost more, but I like the workflow very much. I like plugins if I can buy them. I use Motion VFX plugins sometimes for specific projects. They are very smooth and quick. I'm not debating their quality. I'm not debating the quality of the plugins. I'm debating their subscription model. If you stop paying the subscription, the plugins stop working on projects that you already did a year ago, 2 years ago. Utter nonsense. That's not taking care of your customers. That's all there is to it. You're not taking care of your customers. If I had a subscription and I used your plugin on a project from the past, it should work in perpetuity. It should always work. Don't cut off projects that I use your plugins when I was paying for it in the past. That's what I'm talking about. It's sheer nonsense and not taking care of your customers. Or offer a perpetual license that's reasonable. I don't want you saying, well, if you want a perpetual license, it's $500. That's garbage. Make it reasonable like you used to. I have some Motion VFX plugins. I don't know. I never subscribed, so I don't know if they still work. I guess they do. I don't know how that works. What's going on here? Look at that. What's going on here? Yep, we got 60-some people watching live, which is very, very cool. Very cool. I enjoy it. When I was a kid, I was a ham radio operator. When I was in single digits, and I used to stay up at night to listen to I have a Hammerlin shortwave receiver. And I used to stay up at night with headphones on and listen to broadcasts from the BBC and places over in Europe that I couldn't get during the day because the sun prevented that. You had to wait till the sun went down. And then I started broadcasting. Now, when I was a kid, I broadcast in Morse code. But the idea of broadcasting, it's like having a little television station. And then I started doing podcasting in 2005, 20 years ago. And that was incredible. It's like having a radio station. I can do a podcast. Now, I did the original ones on music because that's what I loved. And this is before Final Cut Pro was out, at least Final Cut Pro 10. And I love the idea if I have a radio station, internet radio station in my house, basically. And now I have a TV station, Final Cut TV. In my house, I broadcast to the world. We have 65, 70 people watching live. Hundreds and hundreds more will watch during the week once it's up and published. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I really love it. The reason I've selected color finale instead of color grading from others who are subscription only or overcharged for perpetual license. Yes, this is what they do. We offer a perpetual license. It's $500 or your firstborn. No. Give it like you used to. Give us, here's the deal. If you want to do subscriptions, also do perpetual license or a yearly license, say a 1-year license. You'll get updates for 1 year. If you want updates past the 1 year, you got to resubscribe for an additional year. But the version that you have at 1 year, when your subscription ends, will work forever. And any plugins that you use based on that or anything you do will continue to work. Okay? So Topaz used to do that. Hedge does that. There's a couple of other ones that do that. where you give the options. Oh, Waves plugins. So my Waves plugins will work up to the version that I've updated. And the rest, if you want to update them past that point, you got to get the Waves update plan. But anything that I used with Waves prior continues to work. Waves doesn't say, we're going to pull the plug on all the plugins that you've paid for and we're using. That's what Motion VFX and some of these other companies do. They don't care about the customers. They don't care about the customers. They care about, give me some money. I'll get as much money as I can out of you. Okay? That's the difference. You can have subscriptions with a perpetual license, with a 1-year license. Now, the exception to that is Final Cut Pro on the iPad. Okay, Final Cut Pro on the iPad subscription will stop working if you stop subscribing, but it's only $4.99 a month. And you can stop the subscription for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months and start it back up again by giving them $4.99. That is very cool because number one, the price is so cheap. Number two, it's dead simple to start and stop a subscription on your iPhone. On your iPhone, you just go into your account and go subscriptions and stop the subscription. It's so simple. So Final Cut on the iPad is the exception to that. It's very cheap, very affordable, and you can start and stop next to being effortlessly. Thank you. I made a simple customized wave filter that waves vertically and didn't come with the library. So we are lucky with Final Cut Pro, Bread Effects, Intelligent Assistants who do plugins perpetual and affordable. Absolutely. And I, like I said, if like for the iPad version of Final Cut, I mean, do I need the iPad version? No, I got the Mac version. I got a MacBook Pro that's portable if I want to be portable. It's more powerful than the iPad version. If they gave us the ability to get a perpetual license for the iPad version, I would buy it. But I don't even know if I even use it, but I would buy it. So, yes, all those companies. I support all of them. Bread FX, Final Cut Pro, Intelligent Assistants, absolutely. Speaking of Intelligent Assistants, I'm looking for my coffee. Here it is. Philip and Greg went back to Australia, their hometown. So they are back in Australia. They have something on the YouTube channel detailing their adventures. They're good friends of mine. I'll be looking forward to seeing them at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. My guess, without knowing anything yet, is the summit's going to be at the end of April or during May. Not at the end of May, because you get into Memorial Day, and the beginning of June is WWDC. So I'm thinking post-NAB, and not too close to NAB, because people don't want to be traveling twice. If you're going to NAB, you have to go back out there for the Creative Summit. I doubt if I would do both. If I wanted to go to NAB, I would just go to the Creative Summit. That's my favorite. My guess is it's going to be at the end of April or sometimes for the first half of May. That's my guess. Now, when they say it's going to be in the spring, they may not mean literal spring. Literal spring starts on March the 20th. It's my birthday. That's why I know that. When they say spring, they may mean after the first of the year. So it could happen in February or the beginning of March. But I think they mean literal spring, which is March the 20th. I presume that's what they mean. If they don't, it could be February or the beginning of March. But anyway, we're going to find out more about the Creative Summit in December. FMC has said they're going to have some details about the Creative Summit in December. Hopefully the date, so people can get off work and schedule travel plans. Hopefully the date. Hopefully the location. If it's back at the Juniper, it's great. Great. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Cupertino because one of the big attractions about going to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit is going to the Spaceship Campus. That's a big factor. You can't buy a ticket to go to the Spaceship Campus like you can a ticket for Disneyland. Can't do it. But you can go to the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit and you can go to the Spaceship Campus. That's an amazing, amazing place. So it'll be back at Cupertino probably because that's the only place you can get to go to the Creative Summit. I mean, to the Spaceship Campus, Cupertino. The only reason I would consider subscribing to Final Cut Pro for the iPad was to control more than one camera at once, but I can do it for free with Blackmagic Camera, so no need now. And I can do it with Ecamm Live. I can do it with Ecamm Live. I got a camera there. I got a camera there. I got my desktop here. I mean, I can do it with Ecamm Live. I've been doing it for years with Ecamm Live, controlling multiple cameras, multiple sources. And you're absolutely correct. Blackmagic Camera app, you can control cameras. Apple should give Final Cut Pro on the iPad for free or perpetual to sell more iPads, and Logic Pro on the iPad is selling too. I mean, Logic Pro on the iPad to $4.99 a month for that, no. There's no way. I got it on the Mac, got it on my MacBook Pro. I mean, you know, I can't use my Final Cut Pro plugins on the iPad. I have thousands of them, titles and transitions and all kinds of things. I can't use my Final Cut Pro titles on the iPad. Am I going to rebuy those? No, I'm not going to rebuy those. There's no way in heck that I would rebuy those. And the other thing is I have a 56 terabyte RAID. I have 3 RAIDs. I can't plug those into the iPhone. That's where a lot of my libraries and storage is. So I'm using the most powerful version of Final Cut Pro, the Mac version. By the way, the Mac version and the iPad version are diverging. They're going in somewhat different directions. Don't like Premiere on iPhone, but why not Final Cut Pro Lite on iPhone? Well, isn't that that's called iMovie? I'd be surprised. I would not be surprised if we get a free version of Final Cut on the iPhone, or they extend the iPhone version with your subscription to the iPad version. I've been editing on my iPhone when I'm mobile with LumaFusion for years. For years with LumaFusion. I really, really like it. It's very, you may not think you could do it. You can. LumaFusion does a great job with editing on the iPhone. Listen, you people are absolutely the best. I don't expect any Final Cut Pro news this week. I mean, I might come on and do a couple more little things with the new, I'm going to do one about this new hard drive, which is fantastic. So we'll see how that works out. But if I don't see you this week, then I will see you next Saturday. We'll be back. We will be back next Saturday. Why the Final Cut on iPad can't use plugins is the foundation that different? Yes, it's 2 different plugins. It can't use Final Cut Pro plugins. They're designed differently. And Roger Bolton is making plugins for LumaFusion on the iPad. So they can be done, but they got to be rewritten, I guess, and you got to rebuy them. I'm not doing that. I have my MacBook Pro if I want to be portable. There's a new MacBook Pro coming out next year, the year after. It's going to be touch screen and keyboard, both. Maybe at that point I'll buy a new MacBook Pro. The M6 or the M7 with a touch screen, we'll see. I wouldn't use a touchscreen app much, but it's just nice to have it. Have at that point. It may inspire me to get a MacBook Pro again. But anyway, I got my Mac Mini Pro. I love it. The M4. I don't anticipate updating to an M5 version. The M4 is doing great. Look at this. Our friend Sebastian, what do you think of the new rumored touchscreen M6 MacBook Pro? I mean, Apple Pencil, yes. Editing with it, yes. Adding handwritten effects, yes. But touchscreen tips over your laptop, breaks the edges, not to mention. Well, the idea is you wouldn't have to use it all the time. The idea is use it some of the time. Like when I want to play a QuickTime video, I want to just hit the play button with my finger. I would still use touchpad and stuff. You just have it as an option. Have it as an option. And at that point, the two operating systems, Mac OS and iOS, are converging. They're getting more touchscreen. I mean, Mac OS was never designed as touchscreen. iOS was designed as touchscreen. So they'd have to bring some of those functions there. I would never consider, unless they had some kind of a thing where you could disconnect the keyboard, but then you got an iPad. So as a teacher, I have access to all the Pro apps through my student teacher license. Haven't installed Motion and Logic. Stop using compressor after buying my Ultra as it is encoding faster. I love both of those, Logic, Final Cut Pro. It takes me to send my videos in Final Cut Pro to compressor, as my videos are not that long. I just send them, I just export from Final Cut and keep a file on my hard drive and then upload that to YouTube or whatever I'm doing. All righty. Well, I have to get out of here because I got other things to do today. We've been on for 90 minutes. MacBook with touchscreen would do a blow to the iPad, I think. Well, but the iPad with the keyboard is what? If you add a keyboard to the iPad, isn't that a MacBook Pro touchscreen? To me, it is. But it doesn't make a difference. Apple doesn't care about cannibalizing their own products. You buy this product or that product, this product or that product. As long as you buy one from Apple, they don't really care whether it's a MacBook or an iPad. So they don't care as long as you stick with Apple. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget these couple things. Subscribe over there on YouTube. Hit that button, give the like button. Don't forget our Facebook group, Final Cut TV Radio, the new Final Cut Radio podcast is out. There's the YouTube channel. Let me turn that one off. That's where you can keep track of me. If you're ever wondering what's going on, hit me up on an old video on YouTube. You can go to the Facebook group. You can go to my X. I'm over there every day, every morning. I'm on X. Richard Taylor TV, Instagram Richard Taylor TV, Twitch Richard Taylor TV, whatever the heck Blue Sky is. I don't even know. I got an account over there too. Richard Taylor TV. All my social media. Are there any significant difference between M4V and MP4 extensions, or are they renameable? I just use MP4 because it's more universal, cross platforms, but that would save your plugins. There you go. So I'm going to get out of here. I got things I have to get to this afternoon. I wanted to get on and since I missed last week, I wanted to get on. I'll be back next week, if not sooner. I could come back on sooner at any point. I do live tests and stuff all the time. But you are absolutely the best audience of any Final Cut TV live show anywhere in the world. You're the best audience. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll talk to you, if not before, next Saturday.